Hey guys, Ben Osterveld here with the Business From Within podcast. Hey, it's Ben here. Hey, just was finishing up a coaching client. Was coaching a real estate agent today, and it was a moment I wanted to kind of put on record and share. He's been advertising in the newspaper. It cost him, over $12,000 a year, $12,500 to be precise. What's crazy is that I asked him, I said, over the last few years, have you got any return? He goes, well, no. So why are you still doing it? So something I left for the first, 3 to 4 months. He had a lot of other things and systems to put in place, and he was spending the money anyways. So we're about 4 or 5 months in, and he still hasn't got even a phone call. So we've redeveloped it. We changed the ad so it would have a certificate to clip out that they would get a phone call, that they get a free walkthrough and staging a consultation. And so he printed it for January. And we just finished our meeting, and we both determined at the end of the day, I want him to really figure it out, not just me tell him what to do. And he says, you know what? I don't know if I like this ad. I haven't got nothing from it, not a phone call still. And I'm like, man, that's $12,000. I said, I could hire an online marketing company right now and you get 60, 70, crap leads every month for even $500 a month. It's not the business that I even want to do. It's mentally tasking. It probably doesn't fit you, but there's so many other better options out there. And so we came to a conclusion to say, let's talk about calling it. And he goes, well, if I ever quit with this newspaper, I definitely give them a bunch of notice. And I said, how about this? Here's your homework. Get the contract and see what the contract says on how much notice you have to give. So he pulls up his email, and the email says, are you renewing for 2018? He goes, yes, I will be. And I said, well, that's your contract in email? I said, man, you're not tied to them at all. You could just call them and say, we're done. We could save thousands of dollars, reallocate that money into even flyering a neighborhood. You'll get more return out of that. And he's like, yeah, for sure. But I said, well, let me ask you a question. Why are you so concerned with this newspaper getting notice? You want to give them $3,000 extra dollars, like a 90 days notice or even a 60 days notice. Like, I don't understand why. He goes, well, that's my values, because my word is my word. I said, well, here's the coaching. Here's the thing. If you just make decisions strictly with your values, the problem is you'll end up sabotaging yourself, because the thing is you'll say, well, that's my word. And because you won't use logic. And think about it. Like, I give an example in my personality and psychological language training about having a guy that comes in to work for 24 years and he's really good friends with the boss, and he's a values driven guy. And what happens is the boss ends up getting fired, and he has one more year to get to his pension and his retirement package, and he's 24 years in, and the new boss, runs into this guy in the lunchroom, and in the lunchroom, the new boss goes, hey, I'm so glad the old guy's gone. The guy was holding this company back, and this guy was just, nothing but dead weight, glad, so what's your name? Hey, nice to meet you. This guy at 24 years looks at this guy, shuts his lunch box, and says, you know what? Screw you. I will not work for a man like you. The guy you were talking about was my friend, and I am not going to work for you because it'll dishonor my friend. So he gets up, quits. He throws 24 years away. And all he had to do was use his other part of his psychological side, his other decision-making function, which is either values, well, it's actually values and logic, and he didn't use logic because his value says, I'm backing my friend. So he lost that. All he had to do was bite his tongue one more year and take care of himself. So it reminded him of this. I reminded this coaching client of this story, and he goes, yeah. I said, how many people are you taking care of right now, and how are you taking care of yourself? And he's just thinking, wow, like, why would you give these people $3,000? I said, your values and your honor is for people that you deeply care about. This is business. This is a company. This isn't even a person. This company, if you leave them, they'll probably be pissed. But then you come back and say, I want to restart. They love you again. I say, is that a real relationship? Or are they just wanting your money and they want to build their business? I said, that's a logical thought. So the logical thought actually is what you actually need. So the thing is, I said, what would logically be right? He goes, well, it's not making me money. It's crazy that I'm even paying this money. And all of a sudden I'm tapping into his other function. I'm like, yes, here we go. And he goes, you know what? I think I need to call it. I said, and then it's cool to watch someone that has deeply driven values justify the decision using logic, but bringing it back to saying, you know what? This is not serving my clients. And I went, boom, there you go. You're right. It's not serving your clients. I said, you're spending all that money doing nothing. People are not calling you. You're advertising people's houses, and you're making them think that people are actually going to call because their house is in the paper. Is that true? He goes, yeah, no one's going to call. And you doing that. So the thing is, he said, well, what if I did video work? What if I actually brought in a different kind of photographer or a different type of video tour company to come in and allocate the money to my client's experience? I went, man, you are getting it, man. But what he needed was the function that he had to do it for that would line up to his values. So logically, it was absolutely the best move. We now have $12,000 to play with, and all we have to do is get one deal, and we've dominated the marketing compared to what he was getting. I said, how many deals did you get last year? How much money did that marketing cost? He goes, well, it cost me $12,500 and I made $0. I said, right on. This is going to be easy. So we're probably going to make 50 to 100 grand on that 12 for sure on a few different marketing ideas we're going to launch. But anyways, just the psychology of taking care of people before you're taking care of yourself. But the thing is, if you don't feel like you can take care of yourself, you have to justify why you're making a decision by helping someone else in a way. Anyways, these are some thoughts. I deal with this all the time, but I wanted to share it was just incredible to watch him spend $3,000 extra giving notice to a company that has never taken him out. This company has probably made $50,000 on him. Not one time did he get taken out for dinner. Not one time has the owner called him and says, man, we are so happy to have you marketing in our newspaper. Not one time have they reached out to insulate that relationship when he's paying so much money. Man, what are companies doing nowadays? Are you kidding me? Why aren't you just calling and saying thank you? Where is it gone? Now, it's just, there is no old school service. Anyways, this company is dying. Newspapers are dying. I think you got to get ahead of the curve. Get the heck out of the newspaper. Do something else with your money. There's going to be a poverty feeling that just says, hey, you know what? No one's going to see you. Well, guess what? Hopefully you have a referral base. Hopefully you're doing good enough business that people are talking behind your back in a really good way. Have you thought of something called Facebook? Have you thought about doing something so good that people go and brag about you on Facebook? There's a strategy, and it's free. Anyways, there's 10 more strategies we can talk about, but the concept of the idea about this talk is, are you making decisions just on your values? Because then you will be lopsided, and by the way, you can easily be controlled. All you have to do is say, well, you said you were going to do that, and now you're letting me down. Guess what, parents? That's what our kids are doing to us. Well, you said I could do that. Well, guess what? It's logically doesn't make sense anymore, so I'm going to change my mind. You're allowed to do that. It makes them resilient. It makes them flexible. If you just say that your word is your word, Mom. Well, the reason why they're doing that is because you're probably a values-driven person, which is amazing. I'm the same way. I hate letting people down. It kills me. But there are times to ignore that and use logic to make the right move. Sometimes the right move doesn't feel the best. I'm a huge intuition guy. I follow my gut, but there's times you got to use what God gave you, which is your left and right brain together. There's a reason why you have a logical move and a feeling-based move. Anyways, it's pretty cool to think about this kind of stuff for me anyways. And if you want to hear more, definitely get in touch with me. You can get on Facebook. You can, subscribe to anything I got going on. But anyways, cheers. Thanks for listening. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to Business From Within. If you could just share this episode, if you could just go put a review on iTunes or whatever you want to do, but that is going to be the way to help me. I'm not asking for anything else, just that. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this. If there's anything that you guys want to see come down the pipe, doesn't mean I'm going to do it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I'm going to be interviewing some pretty funky, some crazy people that you're going to be surprised who actually comes on this podcast. And we're going to talk about the real shit. And then we're going to talk about how successful you can be by actually breaking down the spiritual, the psyche, the mental game, the emotional game, and also looking at some really cool business systems. Thanks again, guys. Talk to you soon.